All right, welcome back to First Team Fantasy. In this episode, we're going to be covering the Patriots at the Dolphins. The Dolphins won this one 31-17. I'm going to start with the Patriots side of the ball because there aren't very many guys I like fantasy-wise on this team. Mac Jones, 19 of 29, 161 yards, 2 touchdowns, an interception, 13.24 fantasy points. That's it. Not a terrible week for Mac Jones from an actual football standpoint. Fantasy-wise, he is not viable by any means at all. One of the guys people are interested in, Mondre, 10 for 39 on the ground, 2 for 11 through the air, 4 targets, 7 fantasy points, 58% of snaps. It's tough. We saw him have a couple solid weeks back to back. We started to gain some interest. The Dolphins aren't a crazy run defense team, but the Patriots can't run the ball efficiently to save the life of them. It's just tough because Mondre, it's weird, like a guy, like compare him to like a Rashad White. They don't run the ball very efficiently. It's their receiving upside we like. But Rashad White is out there like 75 to 80% of snaps compared to Mondre being between like 50 and 60.
Yeah, seeing his targets diminish this week is not good.
No. And then, I mean, Zeke was out there 42% of snaps, 7 carries, 36 yards, fishing on the ground. I'll give him that. 3.6 fantasy points. He had no catches, no targets. Again, it's like if you have Mondre, it's like get Zeke as the handcuff. But honestly, if Mondre went out and Zeke was getting everything, I don't even know if it would be like viable fantasy-wise. I just don't know. Both these guys, if they don't get in the end zone, you're probably going to have a rough week. I'd say the odds are higher that Mondre busts than booms at this point. And now they lost their clear wide receiver one. Terrible to see Kendrick Bourne having been solid. He did tear his ACL. He will be out for the rest of the season. Before he did in this game, he had 3 catches, 36 yards on 4 targets and a touchdown, 12.6 fantasy points, 60% of snaps. If you happen to start him, he had a good week. I mean, a solid week, not a good week. A solid week, serviceable if you had him at like, obviously it's going to be at like your flex spot. So, I mean, you can't hate 12.6 fantasy points there. Someone who Schiff has mentioned, and it does seem, unless Juju can come back and get fully healthy, Demario Douglas.
Yeah, okay.
5 catches, 25 yards, 7 targets, 1 rush for 4 yards, 7.9 fantasy points, 77% of snaps. He's someone that's, I guarantee you, he's available in your fantasy league. He's someone worth taking a look at. But again, the Patriots offense just doesn't offer too many. It's just tough because Kendrick Bourne was solid, but a lot of teams I'd rather have their wide receiver 2 than have like Demario Douglas or Juju as the Patriots wide receiver 1. But again, Demario is someone I am interested in. Juju, I am not interested in. He played 34% of snaps, saw 1 target, caught it for 3 yards and a touchdown, 7.3 fantasy points. But again, I'm not interested in Juju. I don't
think the Patriots are interested in Juju at this point.
Why'd you pay him over Jacoby Myers? But that's a different conversation. Hunter Henry, 2 double-digit fantasy weeks. And we talked about how that was not viable to last, and it has not. He's not caught another touchdown since then. He has not broken double digits since week 2. 3 catches, 28 yards, 3 targets, 5.8 fantasy points. They give random targets to Pharaoh Brown. They give targets to Mike Gesicki. It's just Hunter Henry's not viable. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Like, your only guy, Mondre, because you drafted him so high and because you can't trade him because his value is so low, you're just stuck with him. And if you decide to start him, you hope that it's a good week. And then with Kendrick Bourne going out, Demario Douglas I have interest in, but that's literally it on the entire offense of the Patriots, fantasy-wise. And the other side of the ball is very simple. The Dolphins, Tua had a tough week against the Patriots
Healthy
the first
Jerome
time.
Ford or Mondre rest of season?
Jerome Ford, easily too. Like, in my opinion, and he has Kareem Hunt, who is solid, but it doesn't matter. Like, Jerome Ford is just, I don't think he's a better running back. Like, I think if you switch teams, like if you put Mondre on the Browns and Jerome
Oh, that
Ford
he'd be great on
on
the
the
Browns.
Patriots,
Yeah.
yeah, like I think Mondre's more talented than Jerome Ford, but fantasy-wise, Jerome Ford without hesitation, honestly. Like, if I had Jerome Ford and someone offered me Mondre for him, I would decline it as quick as my fingers could move. Um, yeah, I mean that's just tough. But the Dolphins side of the ball, Tua had a tough game against the Patriots the first time. Did not have a bad game this time. 30 of 45, 326 yards, 3 touchdowns and interception, 6 carries for 8 yards, 22.76 fantasy points. And when Tua has 324 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 30 completions, you know his guys are going to eat, which they did. Tyreek Hill,
Oh, yeah.
8 catches, 112 yards, a touchdown, 13 targets, 25.2. It's Tyreek Hill. Jalen Waddle. Jalen Waddle's, he's coming around. He's starting to heat up a little bit. Jalen Waddle, 7 catches, 121 yards, 12 targets, a touchdown, 25.1. Dang near identical weeks. Tyreek Hill had 1 more catch than Waddle, 1 more target, and Waddle had 9 more yards. 0.1 fantasy point difference between the two full PPR. Fantastic weeks for both of them.
Yeah.
Cedric Wilson is kind of playing the wide receiver 3 role. I mean, he only caught 1 pass for a yard.
For a touchdown.
For a touchdown. 7.1 fantasy points, 30% of snaps. Durham Smythe, 3 catches, 28 yards on 3 targets, 5.8 fantasy points. He did injure his foot. He's in a walking boot. I don't even know why I'm giving you this update because you're not looking to start him, but he will probably play next week. Raheem Mostert is a guy that, again, did not have a great fantasy week. He had 13 carries for 46 yards and a touchdown. That's it. Nothing through the air. Now, 10.6 fantasy points. He only played 56% of snaps. They play the Chiefs. I'm curious to see how that game goes for him. I mean, you probably have to start him. He does have a crazy upside, but after week 9 with the Chiefs, they have a bye. And as we got more updates on Achane, if he will be back, he's expected to return week 11 against the Raiders, who are terrible against the run. So the Raheem Mostert experience, I don't want to say it's coming to an end, but his 30-point weeks and stuff like that, I feel like are coming to an end. Because even in this game, you had Salvon Ahmed, 2 carries, 1 yard, but 4 catches for 16 on 4 targets, played 25% of the snaps, 5.7 fantasy points. Jeff Wilson played 25% of the snaps, 5 carries, 23 yards, 2 catches for 14 on 2 targets, 5.7 as well, 25% of snaps. It's like he's getting spelled by Jeff Wilson and Salvon Ahmed. When Devon Achane comes back, he's going to be the lead back. That's just what we've seen from him. He's going to be the lead back. Mostert's still going to be relevant, but his snap share will drop probably below the 50% mark. You're going to see, I think Ahmed's going to be the one that gets bumped out. You're going to see Jeff Wilson stick around that 25% mark, maybe go down to like 20%, but then you're going to see Achane probably 40 to 50, and you're going to see Mostert 40 to 50. We just have to see, but Mostert's the guy I'm most worried about in that offense, of kind of getting not phased out, but from the workload we've seen from him, I don't think it's going to continue.
Yeah, that's fair. That is fair. And yeah, I don't have anything to add to the Patriots side of the ball. I've already said what I had to say about Demario Douglas in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's just kind of agree. The Dolphins, it's pretty obvious. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you got Reek. You know what it is with Waddle. I mean, you can't keep him out of your lineup.
Tua, you have to start. You have to.
Yeah, and it's pretty simple. I mean, Mostert, you're playing him.
Yeah, you have to.
If he's healthy, you're playing him.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, when A-Chain comes back, you're playing him.
Yeah. Yeah, but that'll do
Sign,
it.
seal, deliver. That's it.
Yeah, that'll do it for this one. Dolphins, highest powered offense in the league. If you have players on that team on your fantasy team, more likely than not, you are going to be happy with how they play. And that will do it for this one. We appreciate the support. We'll be back again with the next episode. Any questions, comments, advice you may need, feel free to drop it in the comments, and we'll see you in the next one.
Yes,